So this is restore. Now we need to prevent. And that's, of course, where classroom education comes in, of course.
So earlier in the school year, we went out with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation on a riverboat trip on the Potomac River and the Anacostia, and we did some trawling, and we did pull up some underwater grasses that were floating. And so we've already gotten to see why those are important and how they fit into the biodiversity.
We are planting the seeds, and we're basically measuring in each one the right amount of soil and sand to put in. Then we're layering the seeds on and filtering sand over it.
You can see the air coming out of the soil spaces. Come see it. Okay, so this is the tricky part. So you see how you guys mix this all up? You've got a lot of air in there. So we're going to slowly allow the water to go in, but we don't want the seeds to float away. You know, we don't want our grass beds to be disturbed. So we just do it very slowly. Our seeds are safe under that layer of sand. And within about 3 days, we'll see little spikes, the tops of the grasses coming out.
So we just need to kind of get some of this algae out so that the light from the lamps here can reach the algae. So you're going to stick this fork down beneath and just lightly go back and forth. See how the algae popped out? And now we're just getting algae and not getting all of our good soil.
There was a lot of algae in the water, so I was using a fork to get all the algae out.
Lightly tap these grasses to get some of the algae growth off of the actual grass. And these are wild celery. Underwater grasses are really important because they provide habitats for animals, and they also absorb the excess nutrients that can cause dead zones in that area.
Well, we were taking algae and water samples from the grass that were growing for the Chesapeake Bay, and we were examining them. The project is to grow grasses for the Chesapeake Bay to save the bay.
And what we want ideally is for the water to come through here and create a giant sort of a circuit of water there. And it's running right over the heater here to try to keep the temperature as consistent as possible. So we're growing some underwater grasses. The species is wild celery. And what we're doing is we're going to be growing them carefully in our classroom. Once they are ready in about May, we're gonna go to Mesa Neck Park and we're gonna be planting them.
To plant your grasses, you're gonna grab all the way to the bottom of that kitty pan and get all the roots. Those roots are the most important parts. So you're gonna grab that huge clump of soil, then you're actually gonna dig your hands down into the soil and kind of make sure it's secure. You'll feel it be secure. We're doing our Grasses for the Masses planting. It's a program run by the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. We do underwater grasses restoration of a specific freshwater species called wild celery. Grasses are excellent habitat for crabs and for fishes, and that habitat provides a space for the young fishes to live, which is food for osprey and for eagles. So if you're a birder, it's really important. They actually slow down the water flow, which takes the sediment out of the water, and the fertilizer and nitrogen and phosphorus from other sources is plant food. So the grasses will actually consume some of that, and they photosynthesize, so they generate oxygen that oxygenates the water and gets rid of that dead zone that's such a problem.
These were growing some seeds, and you can see we do have some of the runners. So this is some of the runner business. And that's how they grow asexually. They spread through the runners like spider plants do. So they make baby plants, and then where the roots touch down, we'll get a new plant generated from those. So there they are, our babies going to the river. Take them to the river. Throw me in the water. You can see how shallow it is, spring tide. I think having the planting at this time makes it easier for the people who are willing to volunteer to do it. So you've got to get the combination of human action with the environment, and I think this project does that.
These are like awesome. You don't get any better than this. These are the best we've seen this year.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, so these are what, 12 to 18 inches tall?
I measured centimeters, 88 centimeters was the longest one.
You were asking the question about whether or not these were going to make it or not, and the answer is yes,
Yeah.
right? Because they're tall enough that they're going to be able to get sunlight, right? They should do awesome. A Vallisneria, this wild celery, it's not a perennial, it's an annual. And so what we're trying to do is make sure that it will bloom and then will seed, and then the seed is going to disperse. So we're not actually we don't necessarily expect to see it inside this enclosure, right? We just hope that we're repopulating all the river.
The grasses look good, the water's nice.
Actually, we're pretty proud because
Especially in a classroom setting.
I didn't know what we were going to get. We got something.
Yes.
Letting it go is kind of hard because I kind of want to watch them grow a bit more because they're not as good as these other people's are, but we tried.
I'm a middle school science teacher in Texas.
Oh, and how long
so-
are you in the area then?
I'm here on an 11-month fellowship.
Oh.
This has just been a really great experience for both of us to be able to make some comparisons between Gulf Coast ecology and the East Coast ecology, seeing the result of hands-on learning, experiential learning, problem-based. They mentioned that they were upset about their grasses not growing quite the same size, yet that's all part of the learning experience and the scientific process, so it's been a great experience.
Getting them in their home it feels great, and they're all planted now, and I can see them. I can see where they're headed, and so I feel like our job is complete, and I'm excited to come back next year.